You made it. You got the job, the salary, the title, the apartment, the life you said you wanted. And then you sat down one evening, alone, finally, and felt nothing. Not happiness, not pride, not relief. Nothing. Just a quiet, hollow feeling that something was supposed to happen when you arrived here, and it didn't. That feeling has a name, and today we're going to find it. This is not a video about working harder. It's not about hustle. It's not about your morning routine or your 5-year plan or the habits of highly effective people. This is about something quieter, something that nobody talks about because it feels ungrateful to say out loud. What if everything you were taught about success was wrong? Not slightly wrong, fundamentally wrong. Wrong in a way that costs you not just years, but the feeling of being alive. There are beliefs about success that were placed inside you before you were old enough to question them, and they have been running your life ever since. Today, we unlearn them. Somewhere along the way, you were handed a scoreboard. You didn't ask for it, nobody explained the rules, but suddenly you were playing. The scoreboard had categories. How much do you earn? What's your job title? Where do you live? What do you drive? What does your life look like from the outside? And every time you fell short of the number on the board, you felt it, that low hum of not enough, that glance at someone else's life and the quiet calculation, they're winning, I'm losing. Here's what they didn't tell you. Nobody designed that scoreboard for you. It was designed for an economy, for a system that needs people to want more, buy more, work more. A person who feels enough doesn't consume. A person who feels behind buys things, chases things, works themselves into the ground trying to catch up to a number that keeps moving. The scoreboard was never meant to be won. It was meant to be chased. And you have been chasing it your entire life. Not because you're weak, not because you're greedy, because you were handed the scoreboard before you had the language to say, I don't want to play this game. Let me tell you what you were shown. Every movie. The hero struggles, sacrifices everything, and in the final scene, standing on top, arms wide, triumphant. Roll credits. Every LinkedIn post. I worked 80 hours a week for 3 years. I slept on the office floor. I missed my family. And now, I'm proud to announce, every motivational account. Wake up at 5 a.m., grind while they sleep. Your dreams don't care about your feelings. This is what success was sold to you as. Sacrifice everything, arrive somewhere, feel complete. But nobody showed you what happens after the credits roll. Nobody showed you the 5 a.m. person sitting in their car in the parking lot, wondering why they still feel empty. Nobody showed you the CEO who built the company they dreamed of and woke up one morning not knowing who they were without it. Nobody showed you the person who got everything on their list and quietly, privately, started a new list. Because the arrival never comes, not the way they promised. You were shown a destination. Nobody told you the destination moves. I want you to think about something you gave up in the name of success. Not a thing, a person, a moment, a version of yourself. The friendship that faded because you were always too busy. The evening you missed because you had to finish something that nobody remembers now. The quieter life you wanted, that you talked yourself out of because it didn't look impressive enough from the outside. We don't talk about these costs because admitting them means admitting that the trade wasn't worth it, and that is almost too heavy to carry. Here is what success costs that nobody puts on the invoice. Your attention, gone, to work. Your presence, gone, to ambition. Your contentment, gone, to comparison. Your enough, gone, forever chasing more. The cruelest part, you did everything right. You followed the rules, you worked hard, you sacrificed, you arrived. And still, that hollow feeling, that quiet voice asking, "Is this it?" That voice is not ingratitude. That voice is not weakness. That voice is the part of you that always knew this wasn't the real destination. It was trying to tell you something, and you were too busy to listen. Ask someone who they are. They'll tell you what they do. I'm a lawyer. I'm a manager. I'm an entrepreneur. Not, I'm a father who shows up. Not, I'm someone who loves deeply. Not, I'm a person still trying to figure it out. We became our jobs, our titles, our output. At some point, the work stopped being something you did and became something you were. And that felt fine, as long as the work was going well. But then, the company downsized. The project failed. The title changed. The career ended. And suddenly, without the job, without the title, without the output, you didn't know who was left. That is the quietest crisis. Nobody talks about it because it looks like ingratitude from the outside. You had a good job. You had success. What are you complaining about? But inside, you built your entire identity on something that was never permanent. And when it shifted, even slightly, the whole thing shook. You are not your job. You are not your title. You are not your salary. You are not your output. These things describe what you do, not who you are. The difference matters more than anything else on this list. There's a word for what you feel when you achieve the goal and feel nothing. Psychologists call it arrival fallacy, the belief that when I get there, I will finally feel okay. But here is what actually happens. The brain adapts. Whatever you have becomes the new baseline. The raise becomes the salary. The promotion becomes the job. The dream apartment becomes just where you live. And the goalpost moves. So you set a new goal, chase it, arrive, feel nothing, set a new goal. This is not a personal failure. This is how the system was designed. Keep people arriving and feeling empty, so they keep buying, keep chasing, keep consuming. A person who feels complete is a person who stops, and a person who stops is bad for the economy. You were never broken. You were just running on someone else's fuel. So, what do you actually unlearn? 3 things. First, you unlearn the scoreboard. Someone else built it. Someone else set the numbers. You don't have to play. The only question worth asking is, by whose definition am I succeeding? If the answer isn't yours, put the scoreboard down. Second, You unlearn arrival. There is no moment when everything clicks into place and you finally feel enough. That moment doesn't exist. Enough is not a destination, it's a decision. You can make it now, not when you earn more, not when you achieve more, now. Third, you unlearn the identity. You are not what you do. Strip away the title, the salary, the output, and ask, who is still there? That person, quiet, uncertain, unimpressive maybe, that is where your real life lives. Build from there. You made it, and it felt like nothing. That's not failure, that's information. Information that the map you were given was drawn by someone who had never been where you actually wanted to go. You are not behind, you are not broken, you are not ungrateful. You are just someone who finally stopped and looked up and saw the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. All that time, all that sacrifice, all those things you gave up for a life that was never yours. That's not failure. That's the most human thing there is. But now you know. So ask yourself, quietly, honestly, when no one is watching, what would success look like if nobody was watching? That answer is where you actually begin.